Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Mr. Bench's Book Reviews. What's in the box today? In the box there is a book called Fire in the Grass. And this, as you may recognise, is in the series with our good friends Iron Boy and Sandalwood Girl. And Rabbit must be a new character. This is number 4. Do check out the others. They'll be linked. It's by Sheila McCullagh, and as they often are, it's illustrated by Jon Davis. So he'll have illustrated this rabbit. If you don't know these, they are meant to be self-contained, but do check out the others if you want to. If you don't want to, if you want to be up to speed on the story, because it's a 5-part story. But as I say, you should be able to follow along, even if you haven't seen those. So do stay with me. As with some of the others, there's a map on the inside cover, which is the hare. It's a hare, not a rabbit. It's labelled on the map. There's hare, and they're in the country of Zorn, which is nice. They just got over a river at the end of the last one. I believe they got over a river called the Rushing River. And yeah, so let's see how we get on. Fire in the grass. Oh, there's a picture of a dragon breathing fire. I wonder if that dragon is responsible for this fire in the grass. The story so far, there's a little recap, which is nice. Which is all the more reason not to watch the other 3 videos straight away, but to bear with me here. Unless you do want all the details. I think this is like a 1-page recap. And just one other thing, I've mentioned this on the others, but there's normally a longer text on the left-hand side and there's shorter text on the right-hand side. These are designed, they have an exciting approach to the teaching of reading designed for parents to use with young children, as it says on the back. It's from the Puddle Lane series as well, in case you hadn't gathered that. So let's go. The story so far. A boy made of iron and a girl made of sandalwood had come to the magical country of Zorn. They wanted to grow up and to be really alive. I think being really alive is a prerequisite for growing up. That's covered elsewhere. The magician had told them, the magician, that's a guy who lives in Puddle Lane. He's capitalised, he's the magician. He's almost like a professional wrestler or someone. That they must go to the Blue Mountains and bathe in the Silver River. That's the last book is even called On the Way to the Blue Mountains, because that's where they are. They're on the way. Then they would become like other children. So that's their aim. The Iron Boy and the Sandalwood Girl stood on the hill in the country of Zorn. As the sun came up behind them, they saw the Blue Mountains. And that's right, because they're going west. They've been told to go towards the setting moon because it was nighttime. So that's why the sun's coming up behind them as they head west. Sun rises in the east. And there's the Iron Boy pointing to the mountains. They don't look that blue in this picture, but that could just be the early morning light. This squirrel thing looks a bit blue. The mountains were a long way away, still, even though they've already had a whole book's worth of being on the way there. Although they weren't that efficient, they had some difficulties. And their tops were covered in snow. The Iron Boy and the Sandalwood Girl saw a wide valley in front of them. I like it when they say that sort of thing, because then you can refer to the map and think, okay, this must be the hill. There's a hare. Not sure where the valley is, it's not labelled. But there'll be valleys between the hills. It was very hot. I guess they just mean the general weather and not necessarily the valley. Specifically, look, there's a river in the valley, said the Sandalwood Girl. We can follow this path to the river. Maybe that's the wide river then. There's actually a dotted line here, which I guess is the path that they're taking. I hadn't thought of that before, but that must be what it is. It's a dashed line rather than a dotted line. But yeah, it leads down from somewhere called Hills, past someone called the Fire Dragons, and towards a river, so that'll be where they're going. The Iron Boy and the Sandalwood Girl set off down the path to the river. So you'll notice there that sentence is the right-hand one. That's kind of much more simple and easier to read. Okay, so they're off down the path. The sides of the valley were covered with dry grass. Oh dear, that's a bit of a foreshadowing, because if you've read the title, the fire in the grass and it's dry, and the slightest spark could possibly ignite it. And we had it in an earlier book as well. The girl, she's made of wood, and she doesn't like fire. She was even getting a bit scared of like a fireplace in a house in one of the other ones. So if the whole grass catches fire, she may be in real trouble. The grass shone like gold in the sunshine. Maybe it's just the sun that's going to set fire to it then, not these dragons. Maybe they're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. They had not gone far when they saw a hare. There he is, we know him. The hare was sitting at the side of the path. The hare was startled. "Who are you?" she asked in a frightened voice. Oh, so it's a talking hare. We had a talking owl in one of the other books, so the fact that animals can talk, at least with Iron Boys and Sandalwood Girls, it seems common. The owl was even from Puddle Lane, not from the country of Zorn, so it's not just magical Zorn animals who can talk, they just all can in this universe. Or at least several of them can. "An iron boy and a girl made of sandalwood," said the iron boy. He normally does the talking. "We are going to the Blue Mountains to look for the Silver River. Don't be afraid, we won't hurt you." Okay, that's nice. "You are going on a dangerous journey," said the hare. "Don't you know that fire dragons live in the valley?" Well, they don't have this map. This map is just for the reader and possibly the magician. If they had the map, they'd know the fire dragons were there. I guess the hare may have a map. "They can breathe fire." Be why they're called fire dragons. "If they see you, they will set the grass on fire to stop you going to the Blue Mountains." I don't know if that's because they're like owned by the head of the mountains and they're specifically guard dragons, or if they're just unnecessarily vindictive. "I'm not afraid of fire," said the iron boy. "I'm made of iron. Iron doesn't burn." Well, it might not burn, but it could presumably melt. Not all bend if it got very hot. I don't know what the temperature of a dragon-made fire is. I think they can get very hot. But here we go. This is what I was saying. It's kind of like the fantasy game weakness thing. Because here you go, she's made of wood. "But I'm made of wood," said the Sandalwood Girl. "I'm afraid of fire." That's weird that it says "I'm" there. Normally you would say "I am afraid of fire." It's the counterpoint to "I'm not afraid of fire." I'm afraid of fire. That's weird. I'd have said "I am" there. "We must find another path," said the iron boy. That's kind of him. He doesn't say, "I don't care about you, I shall stride through the fire and not burn." He considers it to be important that she comes with him. But that's possibly because he thinks there may be another element where he'll have more difficulty later and where he will need her help. But as they turn to go back, I mean, they don't know the titles of the books. So he might think there's another one coming up called... Well, I guess he's going to a river, so swimming could come in handy, because he knows he wants to go to the Silver River. So having someone who floats with him is probably not a bad idea. So he may just be being acting out of self-interest, or he may be being chivalrous. Not easy to say. But as they turned to go back, they saw smoke behind them. Oh dear. "It's too late," cried the hare. "The fire dragons have set fire to the grass. Quick, run down to the river and hide under the water." Well, it'll be easy for Iron Boy to get underwater because he sinks, but Sandalwood Girl, she may have to somehow weight herself down. The hare turned and raced off down the path towards the river. I mean, that's where they wanted to go anyway, so this isn't really affecting their plans other than accelerating their progress. The Iron Boy heard the crackle of fire and the grass behind them burst into flame. So if it's dry, I guess it's not rainy season in the country of Zorn. "Run!" cried the Iron Boy. The Iron Boy and the Son of a Girl ran down the path towards the river. Well, that's good, and I guess the hare can show them the way. Oh dear, that's a very scary picture. Look at that dragon. They do work quite well with the picture locations, though the picture's not always like they're spreading across 2 pages like this. It's quite a good, quite nice when the pictures kind of interact with the words. At first, the grass was nearly as tall as they were. But as they ran on, they came to a place where the grass had been cut. The stalks were only as high as their knees. They could see the river in front of them, not far away, but the crackle of the flames behind them was coming nearer and nearer. Suddenly, a big red dragon stepped out on the path, and a flame shot out of the dragon's mouth. Well, that's terrifying then, because I thought the dragons were just behind them and they could flee, but now there's a dragon right in front of them. That's not made clear on the map. He's got very weird looking fingers, that dragon. Almost looks like a scary headmaster or someone. He's big, like one of these scary people out of cartoons, they often have like long bony fingers. Looks a bit like one of them. And he's breathing fire, which headmasters don't even often do. So it's even worse. The grass in front of them burst into flames. Although there, it almost looks quite funny because there's an unbelievably small arm, very stumpy. I mean, I'm not mocking the stumpy armed, but it makes him look a little less terrifying. The grass in front of them burst into flames. As quick as a flash, the Iron Boy picked up the Sun-Old Girl. She was very light. He held her high up above his head, so he's trying to protect her from the flames, so he's being chivalrous there. I suppose. He ran past the fire dragon and down the path to the river. Okay, so he's just managed to dodge past him. Well done. The Iron Boy reached the river. It was wide and shallow. It has a name. It's called Wide River. So its width is what gives it its name rather than its lack of depth. And full of rocks. So they could have called it Rocky River. He set the Sun-Old Girl down in the water, and together they made their way to some big rocks in the middle of the river. Are your feet burnt? Cried the Sun-Old Girl. No, said the Iron Boy. I'm made of iron. I could feel the flames, but they haven't burnt me. He said earlier he doesn't burn. I think he said quite clearly, iron doesn't burn. So it's a bit of an odd question from the girl there. Are your feet burnt? She's not been listening. The Iron Boy and the Sun-Old Girl sat down in the water by the rocks. It's very shallow. It is very shallow, so they don't have a chance of sinking there. I don't really know what the hare meant then by... Didn't he say hide under the water? I don't really know how you can hide under that. I mean, it's barely up to their tummies. So they sat down in the water by the rocks. The grass flamed along the bank. The sky has gone black with smoke as well. And for a few minutes it looked like a wall of fire. Then the flames died away and nothing was left but blackened grass and smoke drifting up into the blue sky. So the sky is still considered blue. It's not so dominated by the smoke that it's turned the sky black. You were just in time, said a soft voice. They looked up and saw the hare. The hare was sitting on one of the rocks in the middle of the river. So the hare was much quicker and just ran away from them. The hare didn't stay with them throughout their flight. I mean, the hare doesn't care. He is very much just looking out for himself. Well, I mean, he did tell them which way to go, but he didn't stick around to help. But maybe he couldn't help any more than by providing the information. We still have another field of grass to go through before we reach the trees, said the Iron Boy. I guess he's just seeing that after the river there's some grass. Don't know which trees he's talking about. I can't see them on the map. No idea which trees he means. Are there fire dragons on the other side of the river? Yes, there are, said the hare. You mustn't go that way. Cross the river and then follow it till you come to a cave in a cliff. The silver ponies fly down at night to eat the silver moss that grows in the cave. I don't know if they turn silver because of all that moss they're eating. Like people say flamingos are only pink because of the pink fish they eat. So maybe it's that sort of phenomenon. The silver ponies will take you to the Blue Mountains. Okay. Thank you, hare. You have saved our lives, cried the Sandalwood Girl. The hare didn't stay to listen. She went on, it's a she-hare, sorry. She went on across the river, jumping from rock to rock. I guess when she says you've saved our lives, she effectively means by advising us not to go the dangerous way towards whichever trees they're looking at. But I'm not sure. Because in that instance, they probably would have saved themselves that first time. Because the hare just said, go that way you wanted to go anyway. It didn't really do much. But it's good to say thank you anyway, even if you don't really mean it. Because they may meet the hare again. It's good to have the hare in you. Me and the hare's good books. It seems to know its way around quite well. The Iron Boy and the Sandalwood Girl followed the hare, but they went very slowly. The Sandalwood Girl was so light that she would have been carried away in the rush of water if she hadn't held on to the Iron Boy. Well, that's weird. In the previous book, they crossed the rushing river, and it's the Sandalwood Girl whose excellent swimming gets them where they want to be. And now they're in a river called Wide River, which would presumably rush less than Rushing River, and yet they're saying she would have been rushed away. It's because it's shallow, so they're not able to swim. But still doesn't really seem plausible that she would be able to navigate her way through Rushing River but not Wide River. It's only up to their ankles, at least in this picture. But anyway, they've waded across there with sticking together. When at last they came to the other bank, the hare had gone. There were no fire dragons, but they didn't go into the grass, so the hare had been lying to them. Or maybe that means there were no fire dragons that they could immediately see, but they may loom up out of nowhere at any moment. They set off along the bank of the river. Probably wise. If you've got the river there, you can always hop in if a fire dragon does emerge out of nowhere. Oh, this is a nice picture. There's a cave with a light coming from it. The sun was just beginning to set when at last they turned a corner. I mean, you normally call it a bend with a river rather than a corner, but whatever. So they're just following the river. I mean, you can see it on the map that it kind of goes off to the left. And saw a grey cliff ahead. There was a big cave in the cliff. It was growing dark, but the cave shone with a faint silver light. Silver is like a colour. It's a bit like in The Wizard of Oz or something. You have the emerald cities. When you start seeing emeralds, you think you're getting where you need to be. So it's kind of like it's like the gold at the end of the rainbow. As they came to the mouth of the cave, they saw silver moss growing on the walls. The moss shone like silver fire. They'll want to watch out for that. Silver fire almost sounds like it could be so magical as to burn iron, but we'll see. This must be the cave the hare told us about, said the Sandalwood Girl. Let's wait here and see if the silver ponies come. I'm very tired. They do get tired. That's an interesting thing. Because they're not really alive. They don't grow. But yet they can still become fatigued. They sat down in the mouth of the cave and waited, though it isn't quite clear if they sleep or if they just don't move for a certain period of time. They regenerate, regain energy. The sun set, because you don't hear much about them eating or sleeping. I mean, it says the sun set, so they sat down, but it doesn't say they sat down and went to sleep. So it seems as though they just have some sort of energy meter that just gradually refills, but whenever they're doing active things, it gets drained more quickly than it refills. The sun set and the moon came up. It shone down into the cave. It's quite full here as well. You know, it must be the next night. So. But I think the moon stays near full for probably a night or two. It shone down into the cave. Okay. Oh, here are some Pegasuses. Well, these will be these ponies. The sandalwood girl was so tired that she had gone to sleep. Oh, so they do sleep. Okay. When the iron boy suddenly gripped her arm and whispered, "Look!" 3 silver ponies were flying high over the river. I don't know if we've been told that they could fly earlier. Is that a new piece of information, that the ponies can fly? I mean, the hare mentions them. What does the hare say? Shall we find out? Says something about ponies. Says something about, where was this with the ponies? Oh yeah, the silver ponies fly down at night, so maybe it's just obvious in this place where they live that silver ponies can fly. So they were flying high over the river. The moonlight shone on their wings. That's nice. It's shining on lots of things. As the sandalwood girl and the iron boy watched, the ponies swung around and flew down into the mouth of the cave. Yeah, they're flying ponies. Look a bit weird. 6 limbs. Plus a tail, if that counts as a limb. The sandalwood girl stood up. "Ponies! Silver ponies!" she said softly. It's just recognising what she's seeing there and saying it. The ponies were startled at first, but the sandalwood girl spoke so softly that they stayed to listen. "Ponies! Silver ponies!" said the sandalwood girl. That's quite reminiscent of a scene in The Simpsons, which this predates, where Homer gets picked up by some goons, and they say goons hired goons. But I doubt this is a reference to that, but just this very matter-of-fact stating of the noun of what something is, rather than saying, "These are silver ponies." They are going to get taken away by the ponies, the way Homer gets taken away by the goons. But as I say, I don't think any writer has made an intentional connection here. "We have to go to the Blue Mountains." Oh, she's talking to the... Oh, so that's evocative then, actually. Ponies? Silver ponies. And there aren't any other ponies around, so she doesn't really need to specify which pony she's talking to, but she's got their attention anyway. They stayed to listen, it says there. And now she's telling them something. It's nice that she's talking now. Otherwise, it's normally been the boy doing all the talking. But maybe she sees herself as something of a pony whisperer. "We have to go to the Blue Mountains. We have to bathe in the Silver River so that we can become truly alive." That's another slightly different way of expressing it. It's truly alive. "Will you take us there?" The ponies breathed softly. "We will take you there," said one of the ponies. It must be like the lead pony. "We will take you to the Blue Mountains." That's nice of them. "We cannot take you to the Silver River," said another pony. This pony getting a bit annoyed about his boss, always committing him to something that he cannot do. "The banks are too steep, but we will take you to a place where you can see the river as it plunges down the cliff. We have come here for the silver moss." That's what the hare said would happen. "Wait while we eat, and when we have finished, we shall fly back to the Blue Mountains. We will take you with us." I don't know if the idea is the moss is kind of magical, and that's why they can even fly. I don't know. So the iron boy and the sandal girl waited, and the ponies ate the silver moss that grew in the cave. I don't know why they don't just live in the cave, really, if that's where the good moss is, but I guess there are other reasons for living in the Blue Mountains. Maybe they like the river. They like to bathe themselves. Yeah. When the moon began to set, the ponies were ready. They moved out of the cave. One of them knelt down on the bank of the river, and the sandalwood girl and the iron boy climbed up onto his back. Oh, so they've both gone on one pony. They haven't shared the weight. The pony ran along the... Well, it wouldn't be very fair anyway, because as we know, the girl is very light and the boy is very heavy. And there's 2 children across 3 ponies, so maybe it's just better if they sit together. The pony ran along the bank and opened his wings. The iron boy and the sandal girl felt the pony lift under them. The ground dropped away and they flew up into the sky. They're both familiar with flying. And they both flew to the country of Zorn, so they shouldn't worry too much about being on the back of a pony. They flew over the grass, they flew over the trees. They flew over the grass, they flew over the trees in the forest below them. They flew on, over the hills. That's a nice picture here. I was talking about the pictures. You see here the massive mountains dominating the whole double page. Just a bit of text there, bit of text there. Until at last they came to the blue mountains. They're again not blue in the picture. But maybe they're just called that for some reason. Oh, that's the end. So they made it to the Blue Mountains. Well done, Iron Boy and Sandalwood Girl. With the great help of the hare and the ponies. No thanks to the dragons, who didn't really help. So they didn't really cause any problems, just a bit of panic. But if anything, that probably helped them get there faster, because they started to run. Yeah, well done. I mean, that was alright. It was good that they actually got somewhere. Some of these, they didn't seem to make much progress, but they did well in that one. Got across the river up to the Blue Mountains. And then the final book, they're in the Blue Mountains, so we'll see what happens there, if they will meet with any more difficulties, or if all will go smoothly and they will become truly alive. It's nice when you have a book series like this, because the expectation builds. They keep... I think in every book so far in the series, they've mentioned to someone this desire to grow, this desire to become alive. Like, it's worked quite well. They use dialogue to have lots of repetitions. The narrator doesn't have to keep saying, the boy and the girl want to become alive, but everyone they meet, like the hare, and there's this woman in this other book, magician, they tell them what they want to do and where they want to go, so it just keeps hammering it home. So as a reader, you keep getting reminded of their goals and ambitions, which kind of makes you kind of support them, as it were. Go on, come on, like you really want them to make it. So we shall see. So they avoided the fire in the grass. There, the boy was useful because he didn't burn, and he did not get washed away by the unusually powerful rushing of the slightly misnomered wide river. I guess it is wide as well, but it's the rushing river that's been named poorly. Or maybe it was named by someone else. Maybe the other person who named the rushing river hadn't seen the strength of rushing in the other river. And it's a fair way away. And sometimes these names get given by quite locally based, tribes or peoples. So I could believe that. Anyway, great book. Do check out the others if you want to, and also when I've reviewed it, do check out the 5th one, which I will also link once the video goes up. Link in the comments normally. And otherwise, I shall see you again for another of Mr. Bench's book reviews. Bye.